Well, if it isn't my audience on YouTube, I am back again with another guide. Holy shit, the amount of love that I got from last video, I cannot thank you guys enough. Um, you guys absolutely smashed the likes, the comments. I got, almost 100 subs overnight. And that's all because of you guys. Thank you so much to you guys for actually checking out my video and interacting with it. It inspired me to, continue going and making more guides. So if this one helps you, again, please show me that same kind of love on that video. Comment to see if I missed anything in this video or if this helped you. Again, please let me know. This one's going to be focused on how do I do damage and why am I doing less damage than specific other people, or how am I leaving damage off the table. So a lot of people don't realize that there is so much damage that is getting left on the table because they do not explain how to actually increase a lot of these stats and substats and things like that. So this guide is going to be specifically how can I do more damage in PvE and PvP. Realistically speaking, what's going to give you more damage is stats. It's just don't overthink it too much. But how do I get more stats? This is where it gets very, very confusing in the game, and they don't do a very good job of telling you. Or I just skipped over the important shit, and now all of a sudden I'm just an idiot that doesn't realize what he's doing, and I realize it too late. But here we go. So how do I do more damage? First things first that you want to focus on is that when you're leveling, you're going to get an amulet. You're going to get an amulet, and you're going to get a belt. By doing your strongholds and by doing your feathers, you're going to be able to upgrade your amulet and your belt. Those are very, very, very important. They will start at green. Do not get rid of that belt or that amulet. You want to upgrade these because these will go from green to blue to yellow, obviously. But you do that by getting those resources through strongholds and the feathers on the map. These are expensive to upgrade, but they are by far some of the biggest damage that you can get, especially PvP and PvE wise. You actually get two. So at level 25, I think, excuse me, I'm sorry. At level 25, I believe you get your first amulet, which is this one here, but it starts at green. You can then, once it gets level 10, you can actually substance more of it. So if I go to my PvP one here, once this gets to level 10, what's going to happen is I can substance morph it. It will then go yellow, and then it maxes out. I can then go again if I really wanted to. These will then get to unique. These will give you so many stats. When it starts at green, I want to say it's a 5% damage boost with like 200, or I think it's like a 3% damage boost. Now I'm all the way up to 10% damage boost, 700 penetration, perfect damage, which essentially just is a heavy modifier. It just makes you do, it's like not a crit, but I want to say it like either doubles your damage or like it's a modifier on top of your attack. I still haven't kind of figured out how that kind of damage calculates yet. I'll kind of do some more in-depth calculating tonight. But realistically speaking, that is how you get more damage in PvE and PvP. I would suggest definitely getting your PvE amulet up first because there's so many more PvE options in the game to get you PvP gear. I'm sorry. So definitely try to get that PvE amulet up first. But how else am I leaving out the damage off the table? I'm going to get more into the niche stuff now. So substats. Substats are a very, very, very important thing that people don't really realize, and they're leaving it off the table. So currently where I'm at is my Pantheon. So Pantheon is an extremely, extremely important tool for the game, especially for damage users and tanks and healers. It just gives you so many stats, and it is a very confusing concept at first, but once you kind of sit there for 5 or 10 minutes and break it down, it becomes very, very simple. So all you got to do is go to your Pantheon, click F. This is going to pull up this board. Don't get overwhelmed. It's extremely simple to break it down. Essentially, you're going to get art pieces through doing conquests. You're going to get them through doing open world dungeons. You're going to get them through doing the abyss. You're going to be getting them pretty much all over the map. So how do these actually work? So if you look at the owned effect on the right side, it's going to be life, illusion, wisdom, destiny, freedom, death. Now, you don't need to really understand what these do or what they say. You just have to realize what essentially they give you. So if you get out of the Pantheon and you press P, all you're going to do is look at this outer ring here. So this outer ring here is going to be my Pantheon. This is going to give you specific stats. So me personally, as a sorceress, there are a ton of melee classes. There's a ton of assassins, there's a ton of Templars, and there's a ton of gladiators in the game. What stops me from getting caught, or what stops me from actually killing them. It's attack speed, genuinely. So when somebody jumps on top of me, the biggest thing that I like to do is, especially like when a gladiator jumps me or an assassin jumps me, first thing I'll do is I'll perfect dodge, and then after the perfect dodge, I'll root them with one. But without attack speed, you are literally a sitting duck, and you can't attack because a lot of sorceresses animations are locked. Or if you don't lock them, or if you're not locked in the animation, you actually just straight up cancel your attack. So you actually have to sit still. But how do you sit still? It's attack speed. It's genuinely, the more attacks you can get off in that second and non-reactive, the more damage that you do. So this one here, my main Colossus has a time seal of 35, which is just going to give me flat attack speed. So if you look here, I have 22.6% attack speed. If I take it out, what it's going to do is, bam, I take it out. I go from 22.6 down to 19.1. I literally got 2.5 attack speed from literally just putting in a painting. And now you can, it doesn't have to be attack speed, but essentially you're just leaving free stats off the table. These over here give me wisdom. These give me illusion, life, but I'll kind of jump a little bit more into this later on whenever I get more pieces. But essentially you just click it, you hit place, and then you pick a spot to do it. Bam, this is going to go here. So it's going to give me more illusion, more wisdom. But yeah, so there's that. And then you can get different ones, yellow, greens, blues. So now, how do you get the yellow ones? It's just doing your conquests. From what I've seen so far, you get these scraps, and after you get 10 of these scraps, you can substance morph them for a 20% chance of actually making the artwork, unless you just drop it specifically. Sorry, I have to craft this just because I didn't even know that I got these, but there you go. So another thing that you can do for damage, and people don't realize, is titles. Titles actually get you a shit ton of fucking stats, and they actually just nerfed it this patch, so a lot of these were nerfed. Pet effects were nerfed. There were a few other nerfs too, but this one specifically gives me 5% cooldown reduction. I do have another yellow one that's going to give me 5% move speed, I believe. Yeah, HP recovery, 550, but it gives me HP and move speed. I personally like the stamina. It gives me an extra dodge, giving me 200 stamina, so that personally just helps me too. This one here was going to give me combat speed, so that's actually more attack speed that you can get. But you can actually filter these if you just want to take a look through them. You can actually just always filter them, and the top one is attack, the middle one is defense, and then the bottom one is like utility, typically. But essentially, I'm going to get 22 crit and 76 block pen just by literally just equipping a title. So make sure that you don't, and some of these actually have substats too. So like this will give me an extra 1% damage boost to PvE. So if you're strictly PvEing that day, you can just equip the effect by pressing F and do that. But yeah, so seriously, a ton of just free stats on the table that you could be leaving. So titles there. Your pet collection as well. Your pet collection, these are going to give specific sources or owned effects. So you can get HP, MP, you can get like all kinds of specific. So these are your genius insights. You can analyze them with the gemstones. And so if you analyze them, you get these gemstones by actually just collecting pets. So if you go to your pet tab, you can do this. And then once you get a certain amount of pets, you can actually just click this button here. It'll give you a bunch of soul stones. This will allow you to get more more damage. Literally just more damage, more HP, more survivability, things like that. So here, I'll just click this analyze. It costs 2,000 Kina. So I just got MP and a variant evasion. So it's just going to give me more evasion. This one gives me crit resist and MP. This one gives me extra boss attack, so it gives me more damage. But it gives me just more block and things like that. Now, the more pets you farm, the higher these tiers can go, and you can swap from defenses to offensives and specifically things like that. I have to dive a little bit more into this to kind of understand that. But pet farming is a thing in this game. You have to kill like 60 monsters, and there's like a shit ton of monsters in the game. So don't leave that on the table. Now, the biggest thing for damage. Make sure that when you're doing dungeons or conquests or things like that, and you get a blue piece of gear and it doesn't specifically have that arrow key, that means it's an upgrade. So like, if I take this off here, at the top left, it says that this is an upgrade. Now, Just because it's a higher item level does not mean it's specifically better. Sometimes it is. Sometimes the flat damage can be different, the difference making between it being better and worse. But me specifically, if the damage is roughly around the same in terms of the actual stats themselves, so your flat damage, this one here is 270 to 300. If the damage is roughly the same, you need to be able to look at your substats, your soul binding rate. So your soul binds is how you're actually going to get the rest of that big damage boost. So your damage boost is going to come from your soul binding rates. So my tome actually rolled combat speed, crit hit, and it gave me +1 on my flame arrow. So an absolute disgusting roll in terms of what I wanted. The only thing that could be better from this if it was yellow or it was red, and it gave me an extra mana stone slot. And it gave me extra soul binding slots. The higher that you go, it can get 4. So this one has damage boost, HP, MP, and it gave me +1 to absorb essence, which is just a passive skill that I have. Make sure that you're paying attention to these, because if you're a tank, you definitely want block, HP, MP, HP regen. If you're damaged, you want crit, you want flat attack, you want int, might. So if you press P again, now you have willpower, precision, dex, might. Might is just flat damage. Intelligence is chance to CC. Precision is accuracy and crit. Dex is evasion and crit resist, so you can get some extra evasion there. Just make sure that you're actually just paying attention to these specific things, because a lot of people will leave them off the table. So how do you look at the soul binds? You can essentially re-roll them as well if you don't like it. So say you get an insane weapon, or you get an insane like unique piece of gear. Not unique, I think it's called legendary in this game. The red ones. And you don't have the stats that you want. You can actually just reset them with these books here. I wouldn't recommend doing this until you get an absolute insano weapon. Mine kind of just rolled really lucky. But yeah, so you can get stats that way. Realistically speaking, I'm like probably 300 or 400 extra attack than most players that are my gear score right now, just because I'm focusing specifically on those stats, and I'm getting a little bit lucky in terms of that sense. But yeah, so that's a ton of damage. That's where primarily most of your damage comes, because what people don't realize is that when you press K and you see these add-ons that are on your skills, if I go to Flame Arrow right now, I can't level it up anymore. So how do I get that +16? So the only way that you can get +1 on attack skills is your guard and your tome. So your guard can roll 1, and your tome can roll 1. So these are both very, very important to take a look at and to getting a skill that you want. How else can I get that? Another thing that nobody really tells you, Arcana. Arcana is extremely important for this too, because what is this going to do? These cards are done through Transcendence Dungeons. These will drop specific cards. And those cards will actually give you, the offensive ones will give you +1 to an attack skill, and the defensive ones will give you +1 to a defensive skill. And then you can also level them up with these stones. You can register them, get you enhanced XP. So if you really want to, upgrade your Arcana cards, you can do it that way. But if you want to just equip them, you can do a quick equipped, and then your main effect here, time, apply filter. But if you want to equip them, all you got to do is just click on the card and then click whichever one that you have. I have all selected, so you can just go down to the bottom right here and just equip it if you need. Currently, I only have 1 slot, so I'm just using this one for now until I run my Transcendence Dungeons tonight. But yeah, again, that's just going to be the best way to get more damage in that sense, because those level 16 skills, let me tell you right now, the Fire Mark resetting Blaze cooldown. Blaze is a really, really strong skill. It's a heal for me, so it's more sustain. But, absorbs 30% damage of HP. Imagine I get a reset and a reset and a reset off that. It's just going to help me get a ton more damage and a ton more healing out. It's going to give me a lot of sustain. It's going to help me live. So that's the best way to do that. Now, how else can I get damage? Realistically speaking, that's the most amount of damage you can get in the game. But another way that you can get damage is going to be Courage Scrolls. Courage Scrolls is going to increase your combat speed by up to 10 to 15%. You can actually craft higher tier ones through alchemy. If you go to scrolls, once you hit professional 15, you can start crafting these attack speed scrolls, these move speed scrolls. They'll give you 15% instead of 10%. And I'm telling you right now, these 5% do make a very big difference in this game. So make sure that you're equipping these scrolls while you're out PvPing or PvEing in a dungeon that you're trying to time, such as like Transcendence dungeons. These are all timed, and you can't go to the next one until you get an S rank. But yeah, that's the best way that I know how to get more damage in the game. If this helped you, again, please leave comments down below for feedback and how I can help you guys in the future. And let me know in the next guide what you guys are struggling with the most, so I can try to kind of break that down for you. I hope this 15-minute video and I didn't go too long or I didn't go too fast. But yeah, make sure, I guess, to like and subscribe. I guess I'll see you in the next one. Peace.